Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Let's talk about Sierra and Ben. And it's funny. Before I even started this, I was like, I'm sitting there thinking in my head, I was like, should I talk about them last? Because, well, they were both annoying. But then I figured, I gotta talk about them, no matter which way it goes. So let's just get them out the way now. Ben starts off, I swear, and granted, I've only been watching this show for maybe a little bit. Does Ben actually display any other emotions besides mopey or sad or angry? Like, does he laugh? I saw it in previews, when he was telling his love story about Sierra, but besides then, it was like, bro, when was the last time this guy actually smiled or laughed? I mean, he did it today, and I was genuinely shocked. I didn't know he can display those emotions. So yeah, starts off with Mopey Ben. How, actually, tell you the truth, that's in my nose. Mopey Ben. Looking at the book, the Alice in Wonderland book, and on the other side of town, you got Sierra that's looking at the really burnt up, broken down copy of the sequel book. Now, Sierra has just been irritating the living life out of me. But it seems like, I don't know if she was having a flashback or something, but at one point it seems like she was starting to remember a little bit or something. Like the way that they showed it, it made it seem like she was remembering a little bit, but the minute she talked to Sean, it just, oh my goodness. She sounds like a broken record at this point. And, I started looking at my phone at this point, because she just went on, spotted on again about how she saw Ben, and I can't believe that, he came to the room and he still the necktie killer, and I don't even know if I want to remember that life, and yada yada yada, and he showed me this, that, and the third, and it didn't mean anything. It's just the same notes. The same notes from the last couple of episodes that I watched of her just being in denial. So that's literally her beat. Which, she did ask one smart question. She, surprised me. She was like, so where's Mom at? Where's Hope at? As everyone know, the actress that plays Hope is no longer on the show. So, I guess the question is, are they going to actually, recast? Are they going to kill her off? What are they going to do? Because at this point, Sierra's back, and she's not answering anyone's calls or texts or anything like that. No one can seem to find her. So what, now, every day, or like for a couple months, she's just going to be on this wild goose chase? Be like, oh, what is Hope doing? Oh yeah, she's looking for Sierra, which is like right here. Man, this seems kind of silly when you just kind of put all of it together. So yeah, while she's being all in denial about Ben and this, that, and the third, Ben comes over to Marlene's place and is like, I had a dream. Seemed more like a daydream than anything else, but it's like he had a dream that, Sierra remembered or something like that, and a psychic connection or something. I'm not gonna lie. Part of me, I said I'm not gonna lie because I kind of don't really remember. It just seemed like he was just rambling on and on and on of a desperate man sitting there trying to get back his wife. And from that standpoint, I understand that. At one point, he was like, "Oh, maybe I should go back over there. I should talk to her." And I was like, "Bro, can we please just not do this again?" But he talks about a psychic connection, how it's real, and yada yada yada. And Marlene says the same thing with her and John. She got possessed by the devil. I want to watch that. There gotta be something on YouTube about that. Man, the 90s was crazy. Anyway, long story short, Sierra calls Marlena And after, like, towards the end of the episode, Sierra agrees to be hypnotized. You know, at this point, I would like to sit there and say, she's going to get back her memories. And she's going to stop being all pig-headed and in denial and everything like that. But, you know, I feel like the writers are just going to just keep stretching this out as long as possible. Because why not at this point? But yeah, she agreed to be hypnotized. Now the thing is, she kept looking at the book often throughout the episode, like it meant something. But the minute that Sean gets in the room, it's like, oh, yeah, all this stuff, you know, that Ben brought, and it doesn't mean anything, yada, yada, yada. It's like, okay, we're doing this note again. Now, before Sean and Bella went their separate ways to talk to John and Sierra, they just got outside the hospital room. And, you know, they're sitting there trying to discuss about what they're going to do and, you know, what plan they're going to come up with. Apparently they're going to come up with a plan later on, which they could just come up with one now, but whatever. Pretty much, Janet Spears got them in a bind. Listen, Janet Spears is like, listen, if you go to the cops, like, if I get arrested, then I'm going to make sure John get arrested. So, we're on the same page, right? So, you know, of course, after that, you know, they leave, and Bella kind of freaks out a little bit, because she's like, you know, I don't want my dad to go to prison, but I really want Janet Spears to go to prison. What are we going to do? Obviously, that question does not get solved in this episode, so they kind of go their separate ways, and Bella goes to John and Marlene's place. Now, John is, I think from Friday, isn't they're talking about how he remembers the gunshot, and, you know, Marlene is like, well, you know, maybe you were downstairs and you heard it, and John was like, well, maybe I was upstairs, and I decided to put a cap in him, and I was like, when he said cap in him, I was like, I don't even know what to say about that. But yeah, he was like, it's possible I got so mad at what he did to Allie that I could have just did it and just, you know, whatever. So they're going back and forth, and, you know, John thinks that he did it, and Marlene's like, listen, let's not jump to conclusions. So they go back and forth, until Bella comes in, and Bella's like, yeah, everything's cool here? Alright, well, if it's not, Janet Spears wants you arrested, and if we press charges against her, then show does she. So, at this point, John is just like, let her. Let her. You know, at this point, I do not mind as long as she does not get out of jail. I'm cool with going down. I'm totally fine with it. Like, alright, John. And then John says something like, you know, listen, if I committed a crime, I have no problem paying for it. And once again, he goes to the gunshot that he heard, and it doesn't really go anywhere. Now, let's talk about the other side of town. Ava talks to Nicole, and Ava pretty much says that, well, I saw Tripp leave the apartment, and when I got there, that's when, you know, he was dead. At this point, Nicole's like, well, listen, we can't let Sammy just rot in jail. Like, we gotta say something. We gotta do something. And Ava's like, oh, well, you know, let's just kind of see how it's going to play out, you know? At this point, Nicole's like, well, I'm gonna, you know, tell the truth. To save Sammy, pretty much more for Eric than anything else, and probably because it's the right thing to do. Which is all good and well, but again, I'm like, you only knew that. And this is the thing that just kind of annoyed me about Nicole throughout this episode. She only knew that because Ava confided in her. You know, confide in her friend, someone that she trusts. And the minute you get that information, it's like, well, now I'm going to sit there and tell Johnny Law. Like, I'm just going to sit there and tell Rafe, and whatever happens, happens. So Rafe comes in, and Rafe's like, so what's going on? He tells those two that Sammy got released because of, you know, the coroner, and stuff just didn't add up. Didn't match, and so she's free to go. Now, at this point, Rafe is like, he's going to be cooking some famous tacos or whatever. You know, I'm not going to lie, I have never actually found the taco that I liked. Never once. Still looking. Anyway, he said he's gonna make his famous tacos or whatever. So at this point, it was like, listen, Sammy's in the clear, and everything's all good and well. And Nicole's like, well, the killer's still out there. I mean, it could be Tripp, and we'll get him best lawyer and everything like that. I was like, Nicole, Sammy is free. I'm pretty sure if Tripp did it, it was for the better of humanity at this point. Why the hell do you still want to sit there and tell Rafe that? But, she's all like, oh, well, I don't want to lie to him. I want to tell him the truth and yada, yada, yada. I was like, so you want to sell out your friend's son? That's what you want to do. Because literally you're making no sense. I mean, she makes sense as far as doing the right thing. This is your girl right there. This is your ride or die chick pretty much. And you just going to sit there and sell her son down the river once she done turned her life around and she only has one son left, even though she act like she only had one son her whole life, but whatever. She has her one son left, and that's what you're going to do? So throughout this whole time, you got Rafe there, and Rafe's like, so who wants to eat? And Ava's like, so don't you got something to do? And Nicole's like, nah, I'm good. I like tacos. And so throughout this dinner or whatever, Nicole's just being very skittish or whatever, and she finally just leaves. So Ava and Rafe are talking, and Ava's like, so I guess the killer could be anyone, but and then she gets into this whole, like, well, let's be honest, she is a terrible mother. I am trying not to curse. Just a real terrible mother. Like, well, I'm pretty sure if someone killed Charlie, they did it for a good reason. I mean, he's my son and everything, but, But what? I mean, listen, I'm not listening to say you need to sit there and turn a blind eye to what he did to Allie. Absolutely not, but that's still your son. It's like, every time she sits there and talks about Charlie in this really negative way, I'm just like, it irks me. And I don't know, it just irks me. It irks me that she could just be so much of a terrible, terrible, absolute terrible mother. Now, I know there's some terrible fathers out there too. So I'm not sitting there like, oh, it's just her. But I'm just like, yo, that's your blood. And you talk about him like, well, divine justice and, sometimes people just gotta put their law into their own hands. And then at some point, she's sitting there talking to Rafe about that. She's like, well, I know you don't believe in, like street justice or whatever, but, sometimes things just kind of just play out the way they are. I was like, Ava, how did you think this whole conversation was going to play out? You're talking about divine justice and street justice, and, sometimes, you could just turn a blind eye, it's your Allie's like your daughter or whatever, and I'm just like, he's a cop. Like, anyway, he's like, yo, I can't do it, and I gotta find a real killer. Now, Nicole runs into Tripp. And, Nicole's like, well, Sammy's free, and the real killer's out there. We just don't know. I'm sitting there thinking, Nicole, didn't at one point you want to sit there and kill Charlie? So why you keep sitting there giving him the stink eye like, guy's a killer? And granted, I don't know how Tripp is. I know from what I heard that he put a scalpel to Kayla's throat, and that's extreme. But besides that, he doesn't seem like the type of person that just is a killer. Not really. The guy seems like the type of person that would run into a burning building to save a cat. Okay, I would do that, but he's the type of person that just seems like he just plays hero, And so even when he's there talking to Allie, because he was talking to Allie about how he, came to Charlie's apartment and then he just kind of cuts it off, I'm like, I just don't really, I don't get killer vibes from them, okay? I really don't. When Nicole kind of just like walks away, like all awkwardly and everything like that. And yeah, Tripp was talking to Allie about Charlie, being at his apartment and everything like that. Before he really got to any detail, Sammy came in. Now Sammy comes in and Sammy's like, well, I got free and everything like that, and you know, she's all happy, and then she talks to um, Trip. You know, it's like, hey, you know, you've been really, you know, like nice and everything like that to my daughter, and I'm sorry stuff happened to you. I'm sorry about your brother, but I'm not sorry about your brother. Now, at one point, Sammy says something that Nicole said, and maybe this is just me, because I tend to hold grudges depending on the severity of it. Sammy's like, well, you know, listen, you can't sit there and blame Allie and stuff like that. I was like, he really could blame Allie. Let's be very clear. He can blame Allie, he can blame Lucas, he could blame Nicole, he could blame a lot of people, okay? I get that Allie didn't know the truth, and she felt like, you know, he did it. But just because she felt like he did it doesn't mean that he's not allowed to hold a grudge. Like, her and Nicole both kind of pissed me off a little bit. It was like, whoa, don't sit there and blame Allie. It's like, and if he does, then what? Then what? What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and get mad at him like it's his fault that she came to him and threatened to shoot off his joystick? Like, anyway, with that being said, and I know I kind of went off on a rant, you know, everything is just kind of copacetic for the most part. You know, she's happy that, you know, they're you know, they moved past everything, and that, you know, they're in a better place, and that, you know, Trip is there for Henry and everything like that. So mostly that was about it. And then towards the end, Trip does talk to Allie again, and Allie asks point blank, you're like, yo, listen, did you kill Charlie? Did you do it? Because you're kind of starting the sentence and then stopping, and then, like, did you do it? Did you not do it? What's good? And, of course, at this point, Trip doesn't really say anything and just kind of walks off. So I'm like, bro, if somebody asks you point blank, and granted, by the way, now you know how it feels, Allie, because Allie did the same thing to Claire. But I'm just thinking, bro, if she asks you point blank, did you kill this man? And you're just like, well, yeah, it's getting kind of late. I got some stuff I want to catch up on DVR, so I'm just going to kind of head out. It's like, bro, that's not making you look... it's not making you look any innocent, bro. I'm just want to throw that out there. Anyway, I think for the most part... Yeah, I was just reading my notes. Anyway, for the most part, I think that's actually about it. I think I kind of just covered the general episode. If I'm missing any details, let me know in the comment section. I know it came out super late, and I thank everyone for watching. And I thank everyone for watching tomorrow. And I just want to thank everyone for watching in general. Still want to watch that clip of Marlena getting possessed by the devil, because that, man, the 90s was it was the Wild West. I mean, I'm still sitting there thinking about that sex scene between Philip and Bella, because I was like, that's not soap opera sex scene. That's more pornographic. But anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. I will catch you in the next video.